real-world impact yet, and probably never will. November 26, 2007, Mike Levitt and the Health and Human Services orders 100 million H5N1 vaccines from Sanofi Pasteur. 100 million. Expected delivery date, August, right now, 2008. Sanofi Pasteur issues a press release announcing the very lucrative contract, roughly 100 million vaccines, at $15 USD. And declares in the press release that the cell-based vaccine will be mass-produced in the company's China facility, then shipped to its Stillwater, Pennsylvania plant for hypodermic syringe-friendly packaging. Again, let me reemphasize, all of this done without human or animal testing that's peer-reviewed and double-blind and studied. Because in January 2008, we find out from the London Examiner newspaper that in fact covert, hidden human trials of Sanofi Pasteur's H5N1 vaccines were indeed conducted on 350 homeless vagrants in Poland. According to this London Examiner article, this vaccination results in 21 immediate deaths. Guess what? The 21 immediate deaths were subjects 18 to 36 years of age. And over 200 of the 350 were severely incapacitated and hospitalized, showing that this vaccine is indeed highly virulent and is in fact deadly. This doesn't stop Mike Levitt and Health and Human Services from stockpiling this vaccine, however. They're still shipping it, they're still preparing to inject it into America. In July of 2008, by July of this year, 39 individual states passed something called the MSEHPA, what's called the Model State Emergency Health Powers Act. They do this following the lobbying and extensive pressure of the Bush administration and Levitt's Health and Human Services Department. Under this ultra-draconian law, both the federal and state governments now have the right to force examinations of individual citizens. They have the right to isolate those that become ill. They have the right to quarantine cities and towns and even counties in specially designed encampments, and also anybody subjectively deemed to have been exposed and who refuses vaccination. It becomes a felony offense, folks, to refuse the untested Sanofi Pasteur Chinese vaccine. Also, chillingly, it allows the state to confiscate any private property they deem necessary. This could include so go forward to today, the first part of August 2008. Again, let me reemphasize, this Model State Emergency Health Powers Act that's passed in 39 states makes drug treatment and inoculation mandatory once a pandemic has been subjectively declared. I would just challenge anybody listening to this, Google on the internet or go to your public library. Find out if your state has in fact passed the Model State Emergency Health Powers Act. And if it has, I challenge you to read it. Download it, read it, and then try not to weep. It's the most incredible draconian piece of legislation that I'm sure you'll ever read. Again, it calls for unlimited quarantine without review. In other words, without a judge ordering it, without a jury of your peers. Unlimited quarantine without review is mandated under this law for those who dare to resist forced inoculations. I again remind the listener that fully staffed yet right now empty, detention centers have been built all over North America. The largest such detention center is located in Alaska, folks, and is said to have a full 2.5 million person capacity. So, do we have to worry about anything going on? Well, let's look at what I call the China connection with all this. Well, I've already told you the Sanofi Pasteur, Eli Lilly, and most other large manufacturing concern has been manufacturing pharmaceutical drugs in China for many, many decades, if not centuries. Since the 1880s, it has also been, China has been the primary site of drug manufacturing, according to Wikipedia. Wikipedia's entry states, quote, "The involvement of many foreign pharmacy enterprises operating in China can be dated back to a century ago. Bayer of Germany began trade with China in as early as 1882, before it became IG Farben." Again, IG Farben is the Nazi manufacturing giant. Hest, known as Aventis, where do we hear the name Aventis? That is Rockefeller's Sanofi Aventis is their pharmaceutical company owned today by Total. Aventis sold its products through 128 distribution agents across China in 1887. Because why? See, they were trafficking in opium in the China's opium wars in the 1880s. Becoming China's #1 Western medicine and dyeing provider. U.S. Eli Lilly and Company. Again, who runs Eli Lilly? George Bush, Prescott Bush, the Quayle family, again. Opened its first overseas representative office in China's Shanghai in the year 1918. ICI, the predecessor of the world's #3 pharmacy enterprise, AstraZeneca, began trade with China in 1898 and still to this day maintains its old-time office by the Huangpu River in Shanghai. Folks, as of 2007, there are over 1,800 foreign-funded pharmaceutical enterprises for manufacturing these drugs in mainland China. I would remind you, in Latin, pharmacy literally means sorcery. China, let me reemphasize, was occupied by the Japanese during World War II. Following the surrender of Japan, two opposing forces struggled for political control of China at that time. Communist forces under Mao Zedong, financed, and again reemphasize, financed by Marxist-Leninist Wall Street international bankers, including Rockefeller and Rothschild. These well-funded forces soundly defeated the forces for freedom and republic democracy under Chiang Kai-shek. Chiang Kai-shek retreated and eventually was exiled to the island of Formosa, known today as Taiwan. Folks, the model of the so-called New World Order, as promulgated by the modern Zionist group, is nothing short of the communist model outlined by one Karl Mordecai. Karl Mordecai later changed his surname to Marx, Karl Marx. Marx declared that eventually Marxism would rule the entire world. According to dissidents such as Harry Wu and others, China uses massive prison labor in their various factories that churn out goods for sale in America. This includes, and especially includes, pharmaceutical factories. The end result is relatively cheap goods and products that displaces American factories and makes people like Sam Walton's Walmart, Inc. fabulously wealthy. Because of this, China's human rights record is dismal, to say the least. Today, individuals are sentenced to labor prison for just simple things like posting politically incorrect emails to friends or family members.